So what we are going to do, guys, earlier this week, we co-created success criteria for this social studies standard. So let me kind of go over this social studies standard with you one more time. If you can't see the screen, please move until you can. Are we good? Can you see? Okay. So for this standard, in order to show mastery, you have to be able to analyze the extent, which is how much, and the impact, to what degree, of cultural diffusion that results from empire building. When we first looked at this standard last week or earlier this week on the board, we were all kind of like confused, right? Raise your hand if you automatically knew what that meant. It's pretty ambiguous though, right? Only a couple of us were like, yeah, I kind of know what it means. The rest of us needed to really significantly unpack the standard. So we did that on the board. So what I've done today is I've kind of put all of those things we did on the board into an assessment guide to kind of help you be able to figure out what the standard means and how you can show what you know. So the first thing I did is I took those definitions that we created as we unpacked the standard. So remember, guys, culture, we decided, is what people do, how they live, what's important in a community, what they eat, what they worship, what their daily lives look like, and what's important to them, right? The diffusion is to spread. So that means that cultural diffusion is the spread of culture. And the empire that we're focused on for this standard is Rome. All right, so now we got to still unpack it a little further. We know what the terms mean, but what are we still supposed to do with it? So here's the premise that this standard is operating on. As Rome built their empire, they imposed, which means they forced, a lot of their culture onto the people that they conquered. Was Rome big or small?
It started small.
It started small, but as they conquered places, they grew, right? There we go. Silas has got his hands like that. I always kind of picture like the Mediterranean Ocean. You know, it's like this big old oval, and you could see on the maps we were looking at earlier this week. It's like all the way around, and then they started going up more into Europe, okay? So the two questions that you're going to need to be able to answer to be able to master this standard: what are some examples of cultural elements that Rome imposed or forced on the people they conquered, and was this more of a harm or a help? That's that impact piece, okay? So our success criteria we came up with, I can show how the areas conquered by Rome adopted Roman culture, how much was required, and what cultural elements they could keep of their own. And then I can also explain how this happened and if it was a good or a bad thing. If you're struggling, what are you going to do? Ask a group mate or ask me. All right, so since this was our first time doing it, we had a hard time coming up with some ideas for demonstrating mastery. So I have some ideas here. You can come up with your own as well. Just come chat with me. You could do a harm benefit impact analysis. You could do a CER paragraph. You could do a cause and effect poster. Or you could even just do like a poster where you're talking about 3 of those elements that they imposed and the impact. Okay? All right, go ahead and get started. Maybe like me asking. You did a harm benefit analysis as far as Roman culture goes and the imposition. So which was it more of a positive or a negative impact?
I think it was more of a positive impact over than the negative because it kind of overruled it.
Okay. How did it overrule it?
Because Rome built roads and bridges to kind of connect each other.
And so how did that help the people there?
It created trading more convenient and made places grow bigger.
Yeah, definitely trading, because trade equals what?
Connection.
Yeah, connection and money and resources. Good. And so you think that's better than like maybe some of the more negatives?
Yeah, like slavery.
Yeah. Which was normal at the time, but not good.
Yeah, not good.
Okay. Thanks, Shannon. Harry, whenever you were trying to decide positive, negative impact of Roman culture on the regions they conquered, more positive or more negative?
Positive.
Positive. So show me some examples of what was the positive impact.
The Etruscans got richer. The Greeks got richer. Britannia got richer and decided to love conquering places, which may or may not be a bad thing.
I don't even know what you just said. What?
Britannia.
Oh,
got
conquering
richer.
places, yeah. Right, because who came from Britannia?
Britain.
Britain. And then who did Britain conquer or take over?
Everywhere.
Everywhere, but specifically like this place where we're sitting, like
America.
America, right? We wouldn't be here without the Brits, therefore we
never
wouldn't be
had
here.
Missouri.
Technically, that was the French because they owned the Louisiana
Purchase, yeah.
They never once had America.
Yeah. So
Or
you're saying that it's better because it
Missouri.
made people rich?
They never had Missouri.
They never had Missouri. But they made people rich. That's your rationale?
Yeah.
And that outweighs, like, forget about your religion,
Yeah.
forget about your
It was
language?
just one simple invasion.
Okay. All right, wealth outweighs culture otherwise.